All right, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. I just woke up and shout out to Stacy. I had a message from Stacy. Good news. She told me that Ian Carroll put out an episode last night or did a live stream where he announced that Webb is finally coming out. So I started watching. I actually thought I was recording. I forgot to hit record. So I already watched the first 20 minutes. I haven't watched past that. So we're going to start it right now and let's check this out.
And tonight's show is all about Webb, dude. If you don't know about Webb, dude, Webb is the shit, and Webb is ready to go, dude.
Let's go.
But real quick, I'd be remiss to have Brandy over here co-hosting and not actually shout out Brandy and Billy's channel. So if you want to support Brandy and Billy, that is the Brandy and Billy Show on YouTube. Guys, dude, we've been waiting for this for a long effing time. It's finally ready. I spent all morning today working with the boys, testing Webb out. We spent like almost $100 of tokens testing all the different models, AI models you can use at once in over 1.5 million documents from the Epstein files. 1.5 as opposed to 3 point something because there's a shitload of duplicates in the files, and we combined a bunch of them. And long story. They're all in there. And holy shit, it was.
Yeah, the more consolidating that you're able to do, the less tokens that you have to use when doing these searches. It just makes everything easier, more efficient, cheaper.
Spitting out crazy answers, like all sorts of shit that I did not even know about the Epstein case, primary source documentation right up in there. Let me first tell you the story of Gary Webb.
Gary Webb, a great man. Rest in peace.
There is a really cool movie made about it.
So screwed up what they did to him.
Called Shoot the Messenger, Kill the Messenger, right? It's one of the two. Where they had Jeremy Renner, and it's like a pretty fucking good movie. But the original story is about Gary Webb, who is the OG journalist that put together the story of the CIA Iran-Contra affair and how, like, he realized and first reported on the fact that, wait a minute, the CIA is not just fucking smuggling cocaine. They're smuggling it into the United States, and they are the ones responsible for the crack cocaine epidemic. And for reporting on that, he got kicked out of his newspaper, ostracized.
He's also leaving out the part that they also owned the jails that they locked the people up. That's right. They sold the weapons. They brought in the drugs. They put the drugs out there. They started the crack epidemic, and then they owned the jails that they locked them up. And every time they locked someone up, they would, for crack cocaine, they were giving them ridiculous sentences, 10, 15 years, possibly life, depending what they were involved in. And they were getting tax dollars and getting paid for every inmate. It's so corrupt, so corrupt. And the people that were behind this were involved with the intelligence agencies, of course. And this happened during the 80s, during the Reagan administration, when he had the whole war on drugs, or the second phase of the war on drugs. And, you know, Nancy Reagan had the whole slogan, just say no. They had all these stupid commercials out there where they're like cracking the egg in a pan. It's like, this is your brain on drugs. All a scam. All a scam.
As from the news community, and then mysteriously committed suicide by shooting himself twice. Sorry, I'm confusing him with someone else. How did Gary Webb commit suicide?
That's true. Yeah.
No, you're not confusing it. You're not confusing it. The other person that was investigating that case, which he's thinking about, his name was Danny Casolaro, and he was also the one that was going even deeper and getting into Promise Software and all that. He came up with a theory called the octopus murders, which, I mean, I think it was much more than an octopus. Check it out. We'll cover Danny Casolaro another time. But basically, he was getting threats for quite a while, and he was going really deep down the rabbit hole, and he was like really like questioning and digging in while things were going on, to the point where he became a serious threat. So basically, he went to a hotel to meet someone that he thought was a source, and then they found him in a bathtub with over a dozen slashes, and he was fully clothed, and yeah, open shut case, said he did it himself. Bullshit.
Twice. He got shot twice.
No, is that Gary Webb though? Is that Gary Webb?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Oh yeah, I'm confusing it with the bro from the octopus murders.
Danny Casolaro.
Yeah, Gary Webb shot himself in the head twice.
And rest in peace, Danny Casolaro.
Committed suicide. But then the CIA investigated himself. They found no wrongdoing, so it was all good. And we decided to name this tool that we had built in his honor because Gary did something crazy for journalism that no one's ever done before. Here, we'll go back to that in a second. Gary, when he got kicked out of his newspaper, he used this new budding tool that no one had really used before for journalism called the internet. And he published his findings on the internet. First big news story that was like broken on the internet because they'd taken away his newspaper ability. And so he put it online, and then the journalism decentralized and was able to spread. And he changed the nature of journalism by A, reporting on the CIA and what the fuck they'd been up to, and by B, using the internet to do journalism in a decentralized way. And when the fucking DOJ, when Pam and Cash decided that they were going to just drop thousands of files, millions of fucking files in undownloadable format with no organizational structure on the internet so that we could all like get lost in them and like pretend transparency, me and my boys that made Buyer,
Basically.
Shout out to the Buyer app. I'll tell you more about that in a second. We decided.
Yeah, shout out to Bayer. We got the logo here. I swear, I love Ian. He like what he does. Ian is a hero, and I've got this guy's back 1000%. Anything he does, as long as he stays true and he keeps doing what he's doing, I will support him 1000%. Every venture, I'll always promote his stuff. Guy's great.
That we needed to use AI against these motherfuckers. Because let's be real, right? They're using AI to build our digital prison. They're using AI to monitor us, to surveil us, to track us, to kill fucking people overseas. The least we could do is give them a taste of their own medicine and turn the AI back on these files and let regular people just dig into these files with the richness that it deserves. And now we're in Webb, and we're ready to effing party. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's get straight to the party and just ask it a question. Tell me about Epstein's relationship with Peter fucking Thiel.
That's a good place to start.
The technocrat billionaire that's trying to surveil you. On the right, we're using the chat box, which is just like ChatGPT. And this thing is coming out online for all you guys to use. And it's just literally got like a ChatGPT style interface. But it's not powered by ChatGPT. Fuck you, Sam Altman. You shouldn't have abused your sister, allegedly.
Yeah, I gotta watch that Tucker interview again. Tucker brought something up. He made I don't even want to call it an implication. He was just asking some questions, but Sam looked very, very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And shout out to Tucker Carlson for doing that.
I had just asked it this question, and it thinks, and it thinks, and it thinks, and you can see the research it's doing. It pulls back 40 different documents on its first search, thinks harder, pulls back 40 more relevant, 49 entities, 100 connections. It's got all these fucking networked. I'll get my nerd buddies in here to explain the nerdy stuff at some point. Not tonight. It has a super complex layering of logic in the super complex database so that it can actually look through all 1.5 million files, find the most relevant things, pull them back, learn about your question, go back out, find more relevant shit, pull it back, learn, and give you a banging, like ChatGPT, like chatbot style answer that has the sources cited.
That is going to be expensive, though. That is going to use a lot of juice. A lot of juice.
Source number 1, source number 2, source number 3, source number 4, 5, and 6 are probably all similar. Oh, no, they're all different. Well, I guess they're different versions of the same. 8, 9. So we'll read through this in just a second. Disclaimer, I am purposefully using... Brandy was here earlier. She got to see when we were... me and the boys sat down and we plugged in 8 different models at a time. And we had them all compete for... So literally, I'll show you right here. We had them all compete all at once. And we spent like $100 in tokens all in one session, having all these different AIs compete on the same questions in the document set all at once, to figure out which ones would like hit the sweet spot. And
I get it.
Full transparency, I'm using the most expensive model right now because it's fucking awesome. Because I just fucking like it, okay? Because I just want to spend money and have dank ass answers. And so
but listen, don't be discouraged. You don't need to use the most expensive version of this. And let me explain why. When you have people like Ian and people like me and other creators and independent journalists that really go down the rabbit holes and get the information and then make content about it, most of the work is already done for you. You could just pick up where we left off. You don't need to source every single detail. When you're starting from the bottom and you're just trying to source the straight information, kind of like I did or started doing last year, I wasn't watching people like Ian Carroll. I wasn't really watching Candace Owens. I only started really watching them, to be honest, after the Charlie Kirk case. Like, I knew who they were. I remembered Candace from when Trump won back in 2016. And Ian I'd seen on TikTok and whatnot. But I didn't actually watch them. Like, I wasn't a fan until like October. I was doing everything by myself and going down the rabbit holes, and I was using ChatGPT Plus, and then I used ChatGPT Pro, and I'm sitting there going through every single file, every single case, every investigation, tracking donors and shell corporations and different connections and who did business with who married who, had a suspicious schmooshide, and who they connected, and I did it the hard way. And the crazy part is, stupid me, ignorant me, thinking that Ian didn't already do this work. I'm like sitting there trying to send the messages like, yo, you should look into this, you should look into that. And meanwhile, it's like a month later, I'm like actually going through his channel and going through his page, and I'm like, oh shit, he made videos on that like way before I even knew about it. So like, silly me for that. That's my fault. But anyway, my point is something that I realized that I could do more recently. Actually, I realized when Ian started talking about the Charlie Kirk database that he's working on. I didn't even realize that you could go on YouTube and just copy and paste the transcripts. Like, you could go into the description, like right now. Look at this. Right here, show transcript. Boom. Then it pulls up on the side. You copy and paste the whole thing, add it to your files. If you're on a Mac, add it to your notes, and then you could just load that into ChatGPT or load that into Perplexity or Webb. And you could do that for everybody. And then you could cross-reference each other. Like, let's say, Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens are making statements that are contradictory to each other. You could load up the transcript from Ben, load up the transcript from Candace, run it against each other, run it against the facts, and find out who's lying and who's telling the truth. Kash Patel, when he goes and testifies for 4 hours, I mean, that's why we could say that he perjured himself without it being slander or defamation. Because when you run it against the facts, it is clear as day that he perjured himself. And everybody can do this. Everybody can do this. And you don't need to have ChatGPT Pro. You don't have to have the most high-tech version of Webb. When you know where to source your information, when you're sourcing your information from people that are already doing the hard legwork, you already have it. Like, you already have it. A lot of the work is already done. You could pick up where we leave off, and you could go down your own rabbit hole and see where it finds you. And then the beauty of it is we can all go in different directions, and then we can cross-reference each other and really get to the bottom of everything.
Okay, here's the answer it gives us. When I just asked it, tell me about Epstein's relationship with Peter Thiel. The documents reveal a sustained and personal relationship between Peter Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein that extended well beyond a single casual encounter, spanning at least from 2014 to 2017, notably all after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Direct evidence of multiple meetings. The most striking evidence comes from direct email correspondence between the two men. Thiel emailed Epstein directly, quote, "What time lunch today? Look forward to catching up." Citation number 1, because you gotta have citations, and it's right here.
So what does all that mean?
Well, this is all random email gobbledygook bullshit, but it's from Peter Thiel to Jeffrey Epstein on September 21st, 2014. And the subject is, "What time lunch today?" And then he wrote, "Look forward to catching up." And then a bunch of email fucking metadata bullshit. And it's like, okay, I want to keep this. I want to save this. I'm going to pin it to my fucking canvas. Boom. So now it's on the canvas right here, right? We're going to keep that. And we're even going to make a note that says Peter Thiel first correspondence with Epstein, and we'll save that, or at least first we've found, and we can even draw a little line. And the strings actually fucking string. They actually have physics. Beep this shit.
Yo, that's actually really cool.
I know, I think that's so fun.
Dude, I'm so stoked on it. Okay. So anyways, so we can just save it on the canvas. This wasn't a first meeting. Oh, so, I'm gonna have to modify that note. The phrase "catching up" suggests an established relationship. Epstein's assistant Leslie Groff coordinated logistics, noting the lunch would be held at Jeffrey's home again at 9 East 71st Street, implying previous visits. "Hello, Talia. I wanted to let you know Peter and Jeffrey have determined they will have lunch this Sunday, September 21st. What time would work for Peter?" They're organizing it. Cool. We'll pin this one too. We'll slide it over here next to this one. We'll keep it small. We'll just tie it together. And class, guys, homies, we're starting slow, and then we're gonna speed up. But I just want you to kind of get the sense of like how fucking revolutionary this is. The sources are cited right here. It's not going out into the internet and like asking the internet to help it solve its problems. It's not asking the internet like, what do I think happened? It's not it can't make things up. The only thing it's doing is referencing the source documents, the Epstein files themselves, and seeing what's in those files. Here's what it shows.
Yeah, you're supposed to have it give you reports and assessments based on the facts, not like hallucinating and just making up its own version of stuff and or jumping to conclusions. Now, what I like to do is once I get those facts and I get that breakdown of everything that's in the source, then I try to give everything priors and come up with probability models. One day, very soon, I'll make a video really breaking down how I use Bayes' theorem and why I think that it is so crucial with doing my research. And I think it will be revolutionary. I think that it will be a major tool that anybody that goes down these rabbit holes and does this kind of research, that you'll never not use it again. Put it that way.
So there's no hallucination. There's no making shit up. There's no like, this Google search showed me that and this Google search showed me that. It's none of that. It's literally just, this is what the sources say. Look at them for yourself. Here's the sources. And it cites them all. September 21st, 2014, Sunday lunch at noon, confirmed through multiple emails. 4, 5, and 6. We'll pin 4. 4 looks good to me. We'll pin 4. And we'll add it to this cluster. Like that. Okay? Right? Taking notes. June 2015, back and forth scheduling for lunch or dinner, with Epstein asking, what would you like for lunch? Steak, hamburger, sushi? See, I'm getting lazy though, and I don't really want, I don't need to open the source now. I just want to keep track of it. So I'll just drag 7 onto the canvas and boom, it's there. Sick, cool. Didn't even need to open it and read it. Our other chat is still saved right there, right? But in this new chat, I'm going to paste this document and say, what's the story with this UN dinner thing for billionaires that Epstein hosted? Who went? How many were there? Did anything sketchy happen? Right? And I'm intentionally being kind of homey with it because I want you to see that it fucking gets it. Like, it literally, this is the level at which you can talk to this thing and it will be like, yeah, this is the story of the UN dinners. And I
do the same thing with ChatGPT. People told me that was silly, that you shouldn't do it, but I don't know. I'll teach you. Like Ian too. Ian, when the first time when he looked up, when I first made my channel and I first started making content, Ian actually commented my video and he's like, "Oh, it's cool what you're doing, but why don't you try Perplexity or Claude?" And I did, and I don't know, like ChatGPT, it's corrupt as hell, but I've made it my bitch.
I decided to give it the source because this is the source that we were looking at. We'll pin that. We'll put it down here. And see, it's working its way through the files. It's like, I'm not quite at what you found yet. I don't think I quite gave it enough prompting on what the document. Now I found it. Okay, so now it found it. It took 3 different rounds of searching. Now I found exactly what you're asking about, the famous billionaires dinners. Oh, actually, it got confused and it went to the Edge Foundation. Also going to be a sick-ass answer. We can cue it to go more into the UN dinners.
Do you think that means like United Nations?
Yeah, exactly. The United Nations. He held them in New York every year. I mean, fair play, because the Edge actually are called billionaires dinners. And it's got all of its sources cited, but I want to get it started on the, actually, I was asking about the dinner, about the events he hosted for billionaires and influential people around the UN meetings in New York in association with, it wasn't Brockman, that's Edge. It was Mort Zuckerman and Bill Gates, among many others. Can you look those up and tell me about Epstein's targeting of UN week in New York? So it's going to think and answer on that down there. But in the meantime, it honed in on the Edge Foundation, which was this science and tech billionaire foundation dinner situation that he basically used to troll the tech elite and the scientific elite and to talk to geneticists and to talk to scientists. All these things. Let's see what it got. It got Jeff Bezos, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Steve Case, Nathan Myhrvold, Danny Hillis, James Truman, Forrest Sawyer, James Fallows, Kurt Anderson. It's got sources cited from all these different things.
That's so scary.
I like how it tells you like who they are, who they're like
exactly, right? And it got all of this from within the document set. All the good-looking women are sitting with the physicist table. Interesting. So this must be from reporting. So it opens right here behind my head. It opens to the document in the document set that it's referring to. And so this is EFTA 000184444. They became a model for the gatherings at Mr. Epstein's East 71st Street townhouse, which included some of the same guests. His foundation provided substantial backing to Edge. Edge is a really cool rabbit hole to go into.
You know what would be great? if Ian, if you watch this, what you should do is you should try to set it up where you can color code keywords. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a name or like, let's say you're looking for pizza, have it highlight, especially if you're using this and you're making content with it. That would be great. Let things stand out. Cause see in here, it's, what is that? It's a 14. All right. So for whatever reason, the 14 is highlighted in red. But if you had certain words, make pizza orange, make every time a specific name, like let's say, Peter Thiel, for instance, make that blue, like just an idea, so that when you pull things up, especially if you're going to be doing these like long summaries and stuff, it'll highlight like what you're looking for.
Exact source citation right here, because you got to cite your sources. The global power list. The most stunning document shows a list of 32 foreign ministers and heads of state that Epstein was circulating to contacts like Tom Pritzker, Peter Mandelson, David Stern, and even Ghislaine Maxwell. The list included all these fucking fancy people like Tony Blair. Jeffrey, your attendance would be greatly appreciated. The following list is the list of ministers and high-level officials. Someone mysterious sent this to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay.
Someone mysterious.
It's crazy they were only supposed to redact victims, but clearly,
I know, yeah, fucking as if.
Yeah, they
as
didn't
if
give a
only
crap
redacted
about.
victims.
They didn't
Yeah,
give a
fucking
crap
right.
about
We'll
the
get into
victims.
That. I posted on my story the where they redacted the name of the person that alleged that that Jeffrey Epstein made his money initially by having sex with Leslie Wexner. That's a crazy fucking document that I found today. True story. We need personal emails. Yeah, dude, everyone's going to be able to use this for whatever they want. And so
they never should have redacted any of the to and froms. Never should have redacted any of the to and froms. Doesn't matter who it was. Doesn't matter the CEO of what company, what world leader, what president. The to and froms never should have been redacted.
Let's ask it a fresh question. Based on the files at your disposal, or just based on the files, what nation's intelligence agency did Epstein most likely work for, and why? It'll probably give us a more interesting answer if we just dive in and tell it to investigate Israel. But I just want to make a point. I just want to make a fucking point, okay? I've never even asked it this question. I've always just dove in harder, but like I'm just going to ask it this question. We're just going to see what it says. Maybe it'll say Russia. Maybe it'll say that obviously Epstein worked for Russia, right? Who knows? He could work for anyone. How would we even know?
it just says Israel. Period.
It found Ghislaine Maxwell. It found Robert Maxwell already.
Oh, that's great.
Circumstantial evidence pointing towards Israeli intelligence. Let me search for more specific evidence about Acosta's statement.
That's great. Now, like when I say that I made ChatGPT my bitch, I mean that like if you ask the same thing to ChatGPT, it'll probably tell you like, oh, there's no evidence whatsoever that he worked for any intelligence agency. So what I would do is I would say, okay, if it like hypothetically, if he was working for an intelligence agency, what kind of evidence would we need? And then ChatGPT would, go, well, in a hypothetical, then you would need A, B, and C. And then I would plug in the source for A, B, and C. And it'll just start working it. It'll start calculating. And then I source it. I give it the information that it needs. Like, oh, well, Jeffrey Epstein was with Ehud Barak, and he was with Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell. Like, how does, and all of a sudden it turns it into a math equation. And then all of a sudden you just keep doing that. Now, that's the hard way. It took a lot of time, a lot of sources. I almost felt like I was under constant interrogation by ChatGPT because it's asking me for references to back up to justify it operating the way that I wanted it to. Now, what Ian has created is it doesn't have those sensitivity guardrails. It's just going to tell you the truth. It's just going to tell you the truth. It's going to source everything for you, and you're not going to have to know. Like for me to use ChatGPT, it's not like telling me that Epstein was working with Mossad. I had to like give it irrefutable evidence and have it source things so that it would operate.
This is remarkable. The documents confirm Acosta statements. So it gets the Acosta statement straight up. It won't, the source citations are written in here, but they won't actually link and like turn red until it's written its whole answer out. So we're just going to wait. And apparently it's fucking thinking out a long fucking answer.
Pretty consistent.
I scrolled down to the bottom and this is the header that I fucking found. Yep. Based.
That's great.
It knows what's up.
That's great.
So just to remind you all, hey, Ben Shapiro. Who else has been saying that he worked for Russia?
Probably anyone.
Probably fucking all the Israelis, all the fucking Zionists. Hey, just so you guys know.
All the freaking right-wing shills, the freaking Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Brandon Tatum, that's...
Okay? There's no context in this. There's no preloading of context. It's just the raw files. All of them, 1.5 million files. Because there's, duplicates are getting combined. So it's literally all 3 point whatever million that they've released. Minus videos. So I just asked it, based on the files, what nation's intelligence agency did Epstein most likely work for and why? And we'll see what it says. Based on my comprehensive investigation of the documents, I can now provide a thorough analysis. The Acosta statement. So obviously Alex Acosta, he said, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. And that's documented in emails like this one. Is the Epstein case going to cause a problem for confirmation hearings? Acosta had been asked. Acosta explained breezily, apparently, that back in the day, he just had one meeting on the Epstein case. He cut the non-prosecution deal with one of Epstein's attorneys because he had been told to back off, that Epstein was above his pay grade. Quote, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. He told his interviewers in the Trump transition, who evidently thought that was a sufficient answer, and went ahead and hired Acosta.
Yeah, when it comes to kids being abused, especially in the manner in which they were abused, nobody should be above anybody's pay grade. Nobody should be above anybody's pay grade.
The Labor Department had no comment when asked about this. So this email is from 2019. Okay. And there's multiple tellings of this in the files, multiple copies of basically the same thing. Critically, when the DOJ's Office of Professional Responsibility later asked Acosta directly about the intelligence asset claim, Acosta told OPR the answer is no. Though he was offered a classified setting, the Israeli connection web. It only took it that long to figure it out. The documentary evidence shows a dense network of ties to Israeli intelligence and defense circles. Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister, defense minister, and IDF chief of staff, maintained extensive email correspondences with Epstein well after the 2008 conviction. Example 1, example 2, example 3, example 4, out of like 500 million
That's
more.
awesome.
Received approximately $2.3 million from the Wexner Foundation between 2004 to 2006, with Epstein personally signing transfer documents. Citation number 1, citation number 2. Was a frequent visitor to Epstein's 66th Street apartment building in Manhattan. Headed Carbine, an Israeli tech company whose leadership reads like an IDF intelligence roster. Carbine 911, now known as Reporty, is a big story. The CEO was a special forces officer, and one director commanded IDF Cyber Unit 8200, Israel's equivalent of the NSA, citation 13 and 14. These are actually old Wikipedia screenshots, and we've actually read these ones on stream before. Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father. Physical evidence of a blackmail operation. They've got evidence for why Robert Maxwell was Mossad. The documents note Epstein had a, quote, opaque professional history, a little like Robert Maxwell, and is rumored to have worked either for the Israeli intelligence service, Mossad, the CIA, or even both. And this is from a Daily Mail online article from 2007. Which, you know, it's just reporting, but when it all adds up, it's pretty obvious. Physical evidence of a blackmail operation.
Yeah, and it's not just obvious, Ian. It's a math equation. When you say it all adds up, they're all factors. It's all factors. Every statement, everything somebody says, every evidence, every case, every tip that gets called in on a hotline, every time that an investigation gets cut off, every time somebody says that it's above your pay grade, those are all factors in a math equation. You could break everything down to math. Everything down to math. And when you learn how to do it and you have the right resources, you figure things out. There's no denying it anymore.
The documents describe an extensive covert surveillance infrastructure across Epstein's property. Hidden pinhole cameras discovered during the 2006 Palm Beach raid. A hidden media room in the New York mansion. Ghislaine Maxwell told a friend that Epstein's island was completely wired for video as an insurance policy. Labeled compact discs in his safe with handwritten descriptions including young, name, and name. Epstein told a New York Times reporter that he had dirt on powerful people. The fake Austrian passport. Seeing it keeps on getting caught in this reporting right here.
Towers Financial, Stephen Hoffenberg.
FBI cooperation.
Oh, there's his name right there.
An FBI memo from September 18th, 2008 stated Epstein had also provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Sources. And we're skimming through this because we all fucking know this, obviously. So why Israeli intelligence rather than CIA? For some of y'all clowns out there that needed to know, the Maxwell connection, the Barak relationship, Israeli military base visits. In 2008, Epstein visited Israeli military bases and considered fleeing to Israel to avoid prosecution. He didn't wind up doing that, but, you know. The blackmail architecture, the Wexner Foundation pipeline, what's missing? The documents don't contain any direct admission from Epstein about which agency he worked for, and actually we'll prod this and ask it more directly, because I think we can actually find those. Classified intelligence assessments, direct communication with any intelligence agency, testimony from anyone with firsthand knowledge of his intelligence work.
Well, I'm pretty sure those emails where he's saying that, Goyim only exists to serve Israel. I mean, doesn't that make it a little obvious? another factor into the equation?
Actually, I think there are emails where Jeffrey Epstein references
It's so funny. I talk to
working
ChatGPT
for
the same exact
Mossad
way.
or Israel or the Rothschilds. Can you search for those and show me email evidence only, not articles or other, that evidences his is, let's say, alleged Israeli intelligence work? It's not pointing at just emails, because I just wanted to do emails.
You see, but it's good to give some other keywords for reference. Like for me, if I was going to be searching anything connecting like Epstein and the Rothschilds, I would also bring up Alan Dershowitz, because Alan Dershowitz has made statements connecting the two. Any time that you already know in your mind different connectors and things that could bridge the gap, you could just say, for reference, remember this, don't forget that, and it'll make the sourcing, it'll also use less juice. It'll find everything faster, and then it'll give you some other details that it might not have given you if you didn't add those references.
This is extraordinary evidence. Based on the email evidence I've uncovered, let me provide a comprehensive summary. It's still working, though, because the citations... Cool, they just came in. Sick. The smoking gun. Ladies, is your forte. The most damaging email exchanges from November 21st, 2013 between Epstein and Ehud Barak. My thoughts were confirmed when it was said to me, if Ehud wants to make serious money, he will have to build a relationship with me. Take time so that we can truly understand one another. I just listened. Who said it? Rothschild. I'm ready, but I need your advice. How? This is devastating. Israel's former prime minister and defense minister is explicitly acknowledging that procuring women was Epstein's specialty and asking for his help navigating a relationship with the Rothschilds. Epstein is an Israeli defense broker. Multiple emails show Epstein functioning as a direct conduit between Israeli defense leadership and world powers. But it doesn't just say that and then leave you hanging. It gives you sources. Quote, would your uncle like to have a very private talk with the Israeli defense minister at my house? If so, we can organize. Right? And this is actually, I know from the context that he is talking to the niece of the dictator that they installed in the Ivory Coast on behalf of Israel, because she was a girl that was in his sort of orbit that he was grooming. And her uncle was the dictator that they were, putting in down there in Ivory Coast. And from the context, I pretty much know what they're talking about. The uncle is the dictator they're talking about. He offers for him to have a very private meeting with the Israeli defense minister. And she says, I will let him know. He is coming back in 2 days in Abidjan. I would rather tell him in person than via email or phone. And Epstein responds, smart girl. Because this is a fucking intelligence operation, and you don't want to be spreading those kinds of stories in documents that your fucking boy Ian Carroll is going to be reading 10 years later to the entire internet. So,
if Epstein's still alive, he definitely knows who you are.
Hey Epstein, your shit's online, bro. Hey Epstein,
he's
in
definitely
case you forgot
still
what was in
alive.
your emails, don't worry. In a couple days, you can log into Webb. You can pay for a subscription to Webb, Epstein, and you can get in there and you can find out exactly who you worked for too, bro.
He's got you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have Fortnite in it yet, but whatever, dog. Whatever, dog. Fuck you, you fucking shill, you lizard, you piece of shit. So, here's more evidence. Would you like to have dinner, meet with the Israeli defense minister, former prime minister Ehud Barak on the 23rd? So notice how he's hanging the Israeli defense minister, the Israeli former prime minister, for all of these friend of Sultan, for all these important people, making connections for Israel, for Israeli intelligence. Because Ehud Barak wasn't just the former prime minister or the former defense minister. He was also the former head of Israeli military intelligence when he hired Epstein and built this trafficking ring with him.
And a lot of people don't realize, but Ehud Barak and Benjamin Netanyahu were working for Israeli intelligence, well, military intelligence at the same time. I'm pretty sure that Netanyahu worked under Ehud Barak at one point. Don't quote me. I'm not 100% sure, but from what I remember from research that I did, is around the same time in the 70s.
Tracking Barak's U.S. government meetings. This part's crazy. If it's referencing the stuff I think it is, it's fucking crazy. Yeah, bro. Oh, dude. So it brought this one up earlier. This part's crazy. I mean, in a different chat. Tracking Barak's U.S. government meetings. Quote, on Monday, Barak will hold a series of meetings in Washington and New York with top U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Defense Secretary Robert Gates, National Security Advisor James Jones, and Presidential Advisor Dennis Ross. His next stop is this morning at my house, 8 a.m. for a couple of hours. Call me at home, New York. Sent the morning after Barak met with Clinton, Gates, and the NSA at the White House. So this part is crazy critical. Literally, Jeffrey Epstein is emailing his boy, one of the top executives at JP Morgan, Jess Staley. So he's emailing one of the top bankers in America to admit that the defense minister of Israel at the time is meeting with three of the most powerful people in America. And then the very next morning, he has what sounds like a debrief meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, the Israeli spy.
Yeah. Jess Staley was running asset management for Chase in 2008 during the financial collapse, and he was one of the biggest benefactors. That guy cleaned up. And at that time, he was hanging out with Epstein.
That's pretty wild timing. That's pretty coincidental timing. And earlier, it actually, and I'm only noting that so directly because earlier I had asked it kind of a question about Israel as well, and it had pointed out these 3 emails as well, and it had dug more into them and kind of like walked me through the timing of like just like notice the intricate timing here, and the way he refers to it in the email itself is like, hold up, bro, what? On Monday, Barak will hold a series of meetings in Washington and New York with top U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Defense Secretary Robert Gates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I wonder if it'll pick up on the Bibi. We might have to ask about Bibi specifically. The Rothschild Barak Epstein triangle. Epstein acted as a 3-way broker between Israeli leadership, the Rothschild banking dynasty, and Israeli defense conferences. Sources. Intelligence commentary. Epstein appears to have had insider knowledge of U.S.-Israel relations. D.C. believes it now has leverage on Bibi, playing it. Epstein's response when asked about the Israeli political situation during the Egypt crisis in February of 2011. Someone wrote, much anxiety we ditched Mubarak. Is Israel next? What are your views, or what should I read on broad Israeli situation? Sent by someone. Oh, I guess sent by Epstein. And then whoever he had sent it to responded, DC believes it now has leverage on BB, playing it. So someone, probably in DC, is feeding Jeffrey Epstein the inside DC scoop on the leverage they think they have on BB. Weird.
Treason!
Almost like an intelligence asset. Weird. The Army Special Unit. Epstein sent Barak a link about Israelis formed the Army Special Unit doing well. From the Army Special Unit doing well. So he sent Ehud Barak a link, and Ehud Barak was like, hi, Jeff, what's that link? And he says, a story on Israelis from the Army Special Unit doing well. Because he cares about his boys back in the IDF. You know, he's got the shirt. He cares about the boys. So all of that came from literally one question. No, he was the prime minister when Jeffrey Epstein was doing his thing. Benjamin Netanyahu has been the prime minister for basically our entire lives. Off and on. He was
since 96.
Like, he was unseated by Ehud Barak at one point, and then he won back again, and then he took a little break in the middle in like the 2010s, and then he's back again. Right. But no, Bibi has been very much the prime minister during the Epstein operation.
Yeah.
The most direct documented connection comes from March 23rd, 2011. Boom. Open it up right here. And this is the boys and girls at JP Morgan, the bank that Epstein was referring everyone to. And I know the context of this one, so I'm just going to tell you the context. It's all right here in the chat too. They wanted a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. JP Morgan, biggest bank in the world, wanted a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu.
I wonder why.
Jess Staley was their guy that was facilitating Epstein's entire money laundering operation at the bank and was getting all their clients in and protecting Jeffrey Epstein.
I also want to point out that Jess Staley is one of the few people that before all these files came out, the millions of files, that there was already public emails that came out with him referencing women while he was hanging out with Epstein, referring to one of them as Snow White, giving them Disney princess nicknames. How come this guy never got brought in? Think about it. One of the biggest benefactors of the 2008 financial collapse, okay, who was hanging out with Epstein at that time, cleaned up, made all this money, and we have emails that he was hanging out with Epstein, hanging out with women, giving them Disney princess nicknames, and nothing ever happened. No accountability. How many of these redactions, the to and froms, have his name on it? Like,
and hanging out on his fucking island. So they went to him and was like, hey, do you think Jeffrey can get us a meeting with
disgusting
Netanyahu? And then who knows how it happened, but then miraculously this email comes through. Against all odds, we've been granted a meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. And Epstein responds back to Jess Staley, his boy, surprise, surprise, indicating, you're welcome. I gotcha. I delivered.
I believe I gotta look it up. Wasn't Jess Staley? Didn't I'm pretty sure that Epstein left. I don't know if he made Jess Staley power of attorney or executor of his will or whatever. Hold on, I gotta look this up real quick. Yeah, look at this. Jeffrey Epstein named Jess Staley as an executor, not power of attorney. I knew it was one or the other. Jeffrey Epstein named Jess Staley as an executor in several draft versions of his will. According to unsealed Department of Justice documents, Staley's role in the estate evolved over time. Successor executor in 2012. That's 4 years after the financial collapse. Staley was first listed as a backup executor, meaning he would only serve if primary executives were unable to do so. Full executor from 2013 to 2014. In later versions of the will, Staley was promoted to a primary executor alongside other associates like Larry Summers. Final will, 2019. Staley was not included in Epstein's final will signed shortly before his death. The final executors were instead his longtime lawyer, Darren Indyke, and accountant Richard Kahn. Staley has publicly stated in court that he refused a request from Epstein to serve as a trustee, a role separate from executor that involves managing and distributing assets, and claims he had no knowledge of being named an executor in draft wills. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit. See, I know what I'm talking about. Like I've been saying, I did my homework. I did the legwork. I put in literally over 1,000 hours in researching all this. Literally over 1,000. When I say that I prompted over 10,000 prompts into ChatGPT and all these screen recordings and screenshots and taking notes on pen and paper and books just in case my shit got wiped, like, I'm not exaggerating at all. And all of this is the whole reason why I was trying to reach out to Ian in the first place. I wasn't even going to make this platform. He was turning down my tips, saying, "Oh, bro, just make a video, make some content. I'll check it out." Now here we are.
Because Epstein connected Benjamin Netanyahu to the corrupt motherfuckers at JP Morgan. Epstein's sarcastic response, surprise, surprise, strongly implies he was instrumental in making the meeting happen, or at minimum had foreknowledge that it would. Court documents from the Virgin Islands versus JP Morgan Chase explicitly state that between 2009 and 2011, Epstein helped Staley schedule meetings for Diamond to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And it cites those sources as well. How much evidence do you need, Ben Shapiro? Do you need some more?
How much smoke do you need to see before you scream fire? That's the line I've been using. And like I keep saying, these are all factors in an equation. You turn it all into a math equation. Bayes' theorem. Any one of you guys can do this at home. In fact, right now, if you're in front of your computer, I can't do this now because I'm still recording. The transcript isn't going to be there until I actually upload it into the video. But if you are watching this right now, you could stop what you're doing. You could go to the transcript and you could upload it into your AI. And you're going to have everything he's saying, everything I'm saying. You could ask it to cross-reference it with each other and ask it to cross-reference it with the fact and check the sources. And you could just see for yourself. See for yourself. And I hope Ian watches this video too. I really do.
Because we can fucking get you some more.
Don't you think a lot of the files...
Speak louder, speak louder.
Oh. Do you think a lot of the files that have...
In fact, do me a favor. And, Stacy keeps reminding me to tell you guys to like the video and share and subscribe. Shout out to Stacy again. She really is the best. But I want you guys to do me another favor. If you watch Ian Carroll, if you're one of the people in his chats, just tell him Bayes is based. If enough of you guys say Bayes is based and just tell him to check out this video, he'll check out the video and he'll be able to implement and improve Webb. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And he'll thank us later. And thank you, Ian, for creating this. Because you're making it a lot easier. You're doing a lot of legwork. You're making everything a lot easier for the rest of us. You are a national treasure, and I have your back for freaking life. Sorry, we cut her off.
Don't you think a lot of the files...
Speak louder, speak louder.
Oh. Do you think a lot of the files that have to do with Benjamin Netanyahu are the ones that are redacted or not released?
Oh, I think it's highly likely. Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, he's kind of in charge of
it's a big deal. Yeah. I think that... Because Brandy's asking, there's still 3 million files that they told us they have that they haven't released.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably very right that some of the files they want to release, they just want to burn, are anything that mentions BB, anything that mentions ongoing operations, anything there's probably some really dark shit in those other 3 million if I had to guess. Mm-hmm. But who knows? I mean, if they were smart, none of them would mention BB and none of them would have BB in them. That's how they should be doing this. But the leverage on BB email.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
is an
As
email
much as
exchange from
even in
February
these
4th,
files.
2011 between Epstein and another correspondent, likely Larry Summers, based on context. Because this fucking thing is so fucking smart that it can just figure shit out like that.
Yeah, and it's smart because it's using Bayes' theorem. That's how it's coming to that conclusion. That is how it's coming to that conclusion. It's using math. It's probabilities. It's turning everything into a factor in a math equation, and it's like, okay, because of A, B, C, D, and E, F, and G, then this is likely that person. That's also, by the way, the same math formula that Elon Musk and SpaceX uses to bring the rockets back. It's the same formula that Netflix uses to recommend what show you're going to watch next. And it's also the same formula that the CIA and FBI and all these other intelligence agencies use for counterterrorism. Look it up. Look it up.
Much anxiety we dish. Okay, so this is the continuation of the chain we were talking about earlier. DC believes it now has leverage on Bibi playing it. Israelis all think ditch Mubarak first, US next, push Bibi on settlements. Re in Israel. This is extraordinary. Epstein is discussing U.S. government leverage over the Israeli prime minister as if he has insider knowledge of diplomatic pressure tactics, information that would typically be classified intelligence. And he's passing it back and forth between an Israeli fucking blackmailer spy and a fat goblin ogre piece of lard, Larry Summers. That's fucking treason, by the way, Larry. Hey, Kash Patel, in case you needed someone to investigate, you can investigate Larry Summers for trading state secrets with an enemy nation.
Cash Patel doesn't do shit.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Dan Bongino could help out. Netanyahu's political rival Ehud Barak was deeply entangled with Epstein, which creates an indirect but important overlap. And we know about that. JP Morgan's recognition of the patterns. The source of Google co-founder Sergey Brin, Glenn Dubin, all the people that he referred. Sultan of Dubai's Netanyahu intel. Interestingly, Epstein received political intelligence about Netanyahu from the Sultan of Dubai, who forwarded him an article that Netanyahu would become king of Israel. Farid Zakaria looks at why Israel is stronger than ever.
Yo, and please, I urge you, when this comes out and he starts using it, ask it. When you're asking it questions, say, what is the probability? If you don't have the source, if you don't have enough evidence in black and white to state it as a fact, ask it, what is the probability of, based on A, B, and C?
And what Netanyahu should do with its strength. Yeah, they're just talking shit. Sultan bin Sulaim. So we could dig deeper. We could dig into specific sources, specific things. Okay. If you have not already downloaded the Buyer app, homies. Buyer app built by the same homies that brought you Webb. Webb built by the same homies that brought you Buyer. Transparency in your grocery store. Transparency for what you're purchasing. Stop giving your money to BlackRock. Stop giving your money to the fucking corporate cabal. Download the Buyer app for free on the App Store, the Google Play Store. Give it a 5-star review. Spread it around. Start spending your money wisely with family and founder-owned businesses. Huge shout out to the Buyer app. And
what he said.
What he said.
100%.
That's exactly. I
And
swear to God, I didn't know she was
web.io.
going to say that.
And if you hit the Get Early Access
That's
button,
so
that'll put you on
funny.
the sign-up list for the public beta. The Web with
Oh.
2Bs.io. First, we're going to give it out to the journalists, the content creators. Send me an email, send me a DM, send me a message, and I'll send you back the code to get you in, and you can have full access for free to the web, to all the Epstein files.
That's
do whatever
awesome.
you want, ask any questions, do whatever you want with it. Publish that shit, like it, share it, whatever. Then we're going to give it out to the wider beta test, and then we're going to give it out to the whole public, and y'all can use up whatever tokens are still left over from the money that I've funded, and then it'll just be pay as you play, and we'll give out the open source for all the homies that understand open source from there.
It's very generous of you.
I mean, it's just the whole, like, we just need people to be fucking in the files. Like, we need people to be able to read it. We need normies to be able to type in, did Jeffrey Epstein work for Israel or Russia? And then it'll be like, fucking Israel, dog, and here's the reason, and here's the sources, and they're in your face, and they're right here.
And don't forget, when you do this, if you end up using this app, if you end up using Webb, and you want to be one of these people doing the research, remember what I said. Bayes' theorem, break it down into math, probability formulas, and upload transcripts. You could upload the transcript and do it with this video right now. Again, like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate it. But if you're on a computer, copy and paste the transcript and load it into whatever AI you're using, and let me know what you get in the comments. I'm serious. And if you find something, if you think you really found something, message me. And like, let's all do this, okay? It's like, it's not even crowdsourcing at this point. It's like, we're a team. Like, look, we're at the point, we know now that the world is run by a bunch of evil James Bond villains. Like, that's just what it is, okay? Nobody's coming to save us. There's no heroes. Like, we have to do this ourselves. And the best way that we can do this right now is to just expose them. Expose them. Let them walk around knowing that everybody else knows what they did, who they were with, what they were affiliated with, who they were affiliated with. Like, don't give them the sense of security in the belief that they have you fooled. Because everybody's been fooled for so long. And these scumbags, they go, they give each other awards, and they make all this money, and we can't let it go on the way that it has anymore. We can't let it go on. Everybody has a responsibility. It doesn't matter. Like, everybody has to do something. Even if it's just you tell one person, you share one post, you support one person that's doing the legwork. But don't look the other way. Don't ignore what's going on. Don't choose to believe the Fed slop that they feed you because it's easier. Because you don't want the anxiety of realizing the truth about the world, because then you might actually have to do something. You might actually have to face it. It's a lot easier to write off people like me and Ian and Candace and everyone else like we're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. But let's look at the board. Let's look at the board of all the conspiracy theories. And let's see over the years how that's been working out. Who do you think is more honest? The government? The media? Trump? Bibi? Or Ian Carroll? Or Jimmy Gallagher? RealBayes? Or Candace? Or Baron Coleman? Or Nate? Or any of these other people? Who do you think is more honest? All right, that's it. Short rant. Short rant today. That's it. Remember, be kind, be grateful, do something nice for somebody, check out the Buyer app. And again, like I said, copy and paste this transcript, load it into your AI, and let me know what you get. Have a great day, everybody.